Here's 98.1 Love Music, Love Luck. It's that time to get into the world of business on Business Express on the Smooth Breakfast brought to you by InterSwitch. My name is Ayokunmi Kekirekum, and great to have you on the ride this Feel Good Friday morning, where we'll be looking at the result of incidents that happened as a result of the nationwide protest in Nigeria yesterday, specifically in Kano State, where vandalism hit the state's digital innovation park. And we're going to have that conversation this morning. Joining me, though, to talk about this and make some sense of it is Moyosore Taiwo. He is a research analyst at ARM Securities. Very good evening to you, Moyo. Great to have you on Business Express this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, it's the morning after. There was so much going on all over Nigeria yesterday, and in Kano, where we're pitching our tent this morning, there was a lot of vandalism going on. We saw so many videos of destruction here and there, and even it was just a terrible thing. In fact, Dr. Bosun Tijani had to actually come out and make a statement about the incident and how it would set back the should I say the digital economy in Nigeria and in that state as well. And we need to talk about this. This is not what was on the agenda, should I say, when these protests were put out there. But hey, here we are right now. But before we even get into that, what is your take on the cost of living protests that we've seen so far all around?
Thank you for having me again. I would say in a democracy, I believe the right to peaceful protest is a fundamental human right of people. And also, given that we're seeing inflation at 34.19% on year-on-year basis compared to last year, and food inflation about 40.87% compared to last year, you know, definitely the majority of Nigerian population is feeling the pinch, and it's becoming increasingly more difficult to afford the basic necessities of life. We've also seen that the standard of living of many people have also dropped considerably, and
Mm,
even people who consider themselves middle class at some point are struggling to make ends meet at the moment. So, I think the purpose of the movement is just to emphasize, that to the government, and just to make sure that they're hearing us, well.
All right, thank you for that one. Before we continue the conversation, for all our amazing listeners out there, you can be part of the discussion by sending your thoughts in to us on WhatsApp on 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. That's the WhatsApp number. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Okay, now, like I alluded to earlier, Dr. Bosun Tijani, the Minister of Digital Economy, made a statement yesterday, and we saw the tweet that he made. Now, what do you make of the incidents that occurred out there in Kano?
Yeah, it was really sad to see people do that. I mean, it's always very unfortunate when bad elements take advantage of a civil movement to pursue their own agenda. We know that the park was created to create jobs and
Right.
promote innovation and ultimately drive the advancement of technology within the region. But hopefully, the setback from this damage is not really prolonged, and the park is launched in the near future.
Okay. Now, is there any way we can actually reduce this sort of damage in the future? Because we are at a point where we're trying to develop, from an infrastructure point of view, and having these sorts of incidents just keeps on taking us back and taking us back and taking us back.
Yeah, I think, other than the fact that people need to be held accountable or responsible for their actions. Now, I would also suggest or maybe say that these security forces also need to be on standby, to prevent bad elements from taking advantage. Because situations like this, we typically would see while there is a, I would say, righteous cause. We'll definitely see, we'd always see some bad eggs sticking to pursue their own personal agenda in the chaos or in the confusion, I would say. So we just need security forces to be more, to be more attentive,
Mm.
and just seek to protect lives and properties.
Right. Now, I mean, looking at the agitations, and a lot of it is stems from the fact that there's no employment, there's a high level of inflation, hunger, and so much and so forth. So a lot of people do not have anything tangible that they are doing with their time. Now, that being said, should the states individually be doing a whole lot more in order to create jobs for people to be gainfully employed and have something to do in order to earn a decent living?
Yes, 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 most certainly. I mean, across Nigeria, many state governments hope on the federal government to provide for their states in terms of allocations, right? And
Right.
while there's a place for that, many states can also strive to be financially sustainable through different means. And we see, so for example, investing in infrastructure and attracting businesses by enabling a business-friendly environment, would would make investors come to their states, invest in creating jobs, invest in creating services that will create jobs, right, for many people. So I think that should be the focus rather than just hoping on the allocation just to finance expenditure, recurrent expenditure. I don't think that's ideal.
Right. Now, talking about infrastructure, let's talk a bit about tech and education here. How can tech do more from an education standpoint in public schools when money needs to be spent on computers and other electronics that will be needed?
Yeah, I mean, again, the government has a major role to play in this. And I mean, the truth is, private capital can come in to support school systems. But because the primary aim of private capital is not social welfare, but to generate returns, they will not come in when the environment to do business without much external influence is not possible, right? So the government needs to set the stage by creating a safe environment, also by institutionalizing a judicial system where disputes can be fairly resolved when they
Okay.
arise, creating laws to also seek to promote technological investments and also consistently enforce these laws. And when these basic things are in place, like you see investors look to their states or look to invest in school systems or basically just coming with their capital.
Okay, great stuff, great stuff. Now, before we got on the show, we're joking about how you're working remotely today and all that. And I said, hey, if I could, I would definitely jump on that. But it is what it is at the end of the day. But looking at that, what needs to happen for remote work to actually scale across the country? I mean, like in this instance now, some people can't go to their offices because they just, trying to be safe and all that. So, but they might not have the opportunity to work from home. What needs to be done for that to be something that becomes more mainstream across board?
Yeah. So I think to scale, you first need a strong internet connection, and you also need access to to internet, right? So basically we will need strong internet connectivity, and we also need internet reach, right? And that's internet
Mm,
penetration, and that's across the country. And for that to happen, huge investment in internet infrastructure is necessary. Would also need, I would say, security issues, because if you were to have people working from home in states in maybe northern regions that we consider not as safe, right? Obviously, for people to seek to go back to those states and maybe work in Lagos, right, remotely,
right.
you first need security issues to be sorted. People who want to be safe. This is also
Mm,
why we see a lot of people cluster around certain regions because they consider some certain regions safer than others. Would also need a business friendly environment because I would say, like, as a remote worker, you would typically find it challenging, to go out. I would say, you just rather just want to stay in, be on your laptop, just do everything you want from your house. But then, to be able to do that, you also need for example, in Lagos, services like Global, which would help you provide, those, logistics services. And if you
Mm.
want to buy food stuff, you can just easily order on your phone, so things like that, would just generally aid with productivity. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to the support of the government in enabling businesses to thrive.
Okay. All right. Great one, Moya. Now, with that being said, let's play a hypothetical game here, and say that if remote work actually scales across the country, what would happen to physical office buildings and all that? Would that be greatly affected, or even if remote work scales, we would still need to have physical offices to a degree? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. For me, I would say, there would always be the need for commercial office buildings, even with the increased adoption of work from home. And the reason is, you know, companies would still need to have an official base, right? And some companies, you know, may not even be able to fully support work from home. So, for example, construction companies or manufacturing
Right.
companies,
Right.
right? So, even in the events where and also, if let's just assume that in Nigeria, for example, there's increased productivity, the
Mm.
economy begins to rapidly expand, right? And we're seeing more companies adapt, to a work from home environment. Even then, we would still have influx of foreign investments as foreign businesses seeking to come to Nigeria because at the end of the day, these guys they are all seeking returns. They're all seeking ways to improve their return on capital. So if they come here, they would before they when they are seeking to employ people, they would also need you know an office building. They will also need a base, basically where people can say, oh, this is where, for example, Facebook is, this is where Twitter is, right?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I would say that even in the events that the country begins to see rapid development, the influx of businesses or foreign capital will still put some pressure on the property market in terms of demand. So, in summary, I'll just say that it will take years for a fully digitized economy to be realized, and even at that, commercial buildings will still be needed.
All right, thank you so much for that, Moya. We'll wrap up with a message here from Tayo. Tayo says, security infrastructure needs to be up and about and stop being political on security matters. How can you find an IED in a densely populated area with visibly placed cameras and not be able to find the individual that dropped it? I wonder what happened to the camera that our former governor found at the toll gates. Well, Tayo, your guess is as good as mine. Anyways, we've come to the end of Business Express this morning on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Thank you so much, Moyosore Taiwo, research analyst at ARM Securities. It's been great having you, as always, on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a
All right, do
nice day.
have a great day and be safe out there. Thank you all
Thank you.
for being a part of Business Express. Stick around because there's more great music to come as the Smooth Breakfast continues. And at 7:30, we'll get talking from headlines all across the world. Freshly Pressed will be on your radios.